Our lives are laid out on a road of bumps, turns, struggles, and more. How do we respond? How do we endure adversity for learning and growth? I'm Aubrey Johnson, and we'll explore these questions and more on the Road to Rediscovery. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Road to Rediscovery. I'm your host, Aubrey Johnson. The Road to Rediscovery is about reflecting on life lessons to learn and grow from them, and of course, pay it forward and uplift others who are struggling through tough times. Now, as a quick reminder, the hard copy version of Relentless, Empowering Stories of Overcoming Adversity is available now. Let me tell you something. I had a blast, an absolute blast, co-authoring this book. With this book, you can get a glimpse into a significant part of my struggle, of my journey, as well as my 19 other colleagues in their respective chapters sharing their stories of overcoming adversity. This is available on Amazon for $22. And if you are looking for a book of inspiration and motivation, this is the book for you. Like I said, $22 on Amazon, or you can get a personal autographed copy by yours truly for a discounted price by sending me an email at roadtorediscoverypodcast@gmail.com. That's roadtorediscoverypodcast@gmail.com. And we'll just make it happen. And as always, we really and truly appreciate your support. My special guests, they are the embodiment of resilience, resolve, and success. At the ages of 17 and 12, in their homeland of Bolivia, South America, these sisters were abandoned by their father after their mother lost a tough battle with cancer. Now, this ushered in some very tough times for these young ladies, but as we all know, there's strength in our struggles, right? They pursued their passion for marketing and have established the Houston, Texas-based business, the Boral Agency, a marketing agency growing businesses all over the world, leading with their core values of gratitude, creativity, accountability, family, and more. Ladies and gentlemen, we were going to have two, but now we have one representing Boral Agency, Patricia Boral. Welcome to the show, Patricia. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Aubrey. I'm very glad to be here today.
Oh, thank you. We are equally glad, and we're going to say a spirited hello to Brenda.
Yes.
Brenda, we miss you, but we can't wait to hear your story as well as we have this conversation. All right. So, Patricia, we have a lot to unpack here, and I'm so excited to have you on the show, and so are the listeners. And I wanted to know if you could just start us off by giving us a glimpse into the adversity that you were faced as children without either parent at that point, right? How did you receive and learn guidance and direction? Where does your resilience come from? And what originally drew you to marketing?
Well, that's a great question, Aubrey. So I will start by saying that I think a lot of my learnings came from my mother. She was a
Yes.
great mom. When I was 12, I was the 12-year-old when she passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Even at that age, I had a lot of learnings from her. I always remember that she would say things like, you follow your dreams, your passion, don't follow the money, because
Yes.
money will come if you are the best at what you love. And if you love what you're doing, you're going to be the best, right? So she always says things like that to me. And she was an entrepreneur. She was a
Mm-hmm.
resilient person. She
Mm-hmm.
actually had a business when she passed away that we took over,
Mm-hmm.
basically because my dad left the family. So we had to basically find a way to bring money in. So my mom
Yes.
had an after school program, and I started running that business with my sister, Brenda, who
Mm-hmm.
now you're going to have to bring her back so you can hear her perspective and her vision.
Absolutely, we will.
Yes. Yeah, because I believe that we all had different versions, right? Because as a
Yeah,
17-year-old, you have a different perspective than a 12-year-old, right?
absolutely,
And you
absolutely.
see the world at that age, the gap, you really feel it because you can see the difference between a teenager that already saw a little bit. She actually had a little bit of training from my mom on how to
Yes.
run a business
Hmm.
versus a 12-year-old who's still playing with Barbies,
Yes.
right? And she will, like, before leaving, because she got a job at the university, Brenda.
Hmm. Hmm.
So before leaving to the university, she would be like, okay, Patricia, this is the things that you need to do today, pay these bills, collect from this, and blah, blah, blah. And for me, it was kind of like an adventure, like, oh, I get to do all of these things. So I would go
Yeah.
ahead and just do them. So I never saw kind of like the danger in the abandonment so much, because
Mhm.
for me it was kind of like, oh, this is just an adventure, this is what we have to do today. So I didn't really give it too much thought versus her, that she could see it, right, as a little bit more of an adult. So I think that was the biggest difference. And my marketing, my dream for marketing is, I've always been very creative. I
Mhm.
used to paint. In fact, you can see here a little bit, I have a piece that I'm working there in the back.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a big piece actually. So I
Uh-huh.
love to paint. I'm very creative, and when I was running the business, I needed to take classes. I took some accounting classes, some typing classes when I was like 14, because we were losing clients left and right, to be honest, and
Yeah.
we didn't understand why, right? I didn't
Mhm.
understand, so I was trying to figure it out.
Mhm.
And of course, we realized, okay, we need to be selling more, we need to be marketing more. And when I learned about marketing and how it's a combination of business and creativity, for me,
Yes.
it was an instant connection. It was like, this is it. This is my dream. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. No, and so the perspectives you touched on is really really profound. It's resonating with me, Patricia, because as you looked at it as an adventure, at your age, I'm sure Brenda had a different perspective,
Oh, yes.
yeah, as well.
Hmm.
And so bringing your two loves, it sounds like, of business and creativity together with your artistic background, pretty much set the foundation, it sounds like, for putting this company together. Now, your mother was an entrepreneur
Yes.
originally, had her own company. Now, was that in marketing as well?
No, it was an
No.
after school program.
After
So,
school, okay.
like, tutoring services.
Oh, yes, for sure. Yeah. Okay. Education. Okay.
Mhm.
Fantastic. So once you discovered the combination of business and creativity for marketing, to make marketing, what did your original dream look like? Did it take some convincing with Brenda on pursuing marketing once you've discovered what it mainly consists of, or um, what did the original dream look like? Did it include coming to the States, or just
Having
opening your business?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely moving to the States
Hmm.
for us was something that we were gonna do regardless, because
Yeah.
my mom passed away. She passed away on July 4th. She
Mm,
literally updated all of our passports. She was planning to divorce my dad and move to New York, where she was from.
I see.
Um, she was from Chile, but she grew up in New York.
Okay.
So she was planning to move back there.
Yeah.
And then she passed away, and she passed away July 4th. So we were like, okay, mom, we get
That's a
it. We're
sign.
going to
That's a
take
sign.
it.
Yes.
So it was never a question of if we're moving, it was more about when are we moving,
When?
right?
When?
And Brenda
Yes.
was the first one to move, and she moved to Houston
Hmm.
because of the oil and gas. Her husband was involved in oil and gas.
Right.
And eventually my siblings moved here, and I moved as well.
Hmm.
And in terms of convincing Brenda to start this company, it took a little bit of convincing,
Yeah.
because she had another company with a different partner who was a
Hmm.
friend, and didn't end very well for her.
Mm. Hmm.
My case, I was coming from starting a branding company, and I had a great relationship with the partner that I started that company, and the company is still running until today. I
Good.
started it back in Bolivia.
Hmm.
And so for me, it was, let's do it. It's going to be great and all of these great ideas. And Brenda was like, no, I don't want this to hurt our relationship. So I think having both sides was great, because she was like, this could really damage our relationship. And in my head, I was like, no, this is going to be great and all the positive.
Yeah. Yeah.
We sat down and she was like, okay, these are kind of like all the risks, all the things that could happen. And I was like, okay, so if this happens, this is how we're going to handle it. So we both brainstormed, sat down, and basically put together an operating agreement that throughout the years we've been updating. But honestly, that has been the best decision that we've did as entrepreneurs, right? So if anybody out there is thinking about starting a company with a partner, I will highly recommend to write down an operating agreement and be as detailed as you want. Like, write down how many vacations days you're going to be able to take, like literally every single detail that you can think of. What happened if someone gets sick, if somebody passed away, if somebody decides to leave, anything that you can think of, put it there.
That makes a lot of sense. It truly does. And it also references the importance of transparency. You must be transparent with each other, put everything out, like, as they say, all the cards on the table.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
so there's no ambiguity, right? There's no uncertainty. Sure, there are things that come up out of the blue that we may not have considered or thought of, but we try to bring in as many of those possible scenarios as possible. So in the beginning, right? So that it can be ironed out as far as what happens when this comes up, who
Yeah.
takes the business here, who takes it there, what recourse do we have whenever this situation happens,
Or who
and
has the last call, right? Because that's what we do.
yes,
Like, I'll take care of this side of the business, you take care of this other side. So if
yes,
we don't agree in a decision, because you can't possibly know everything that's going to come to you.
no,
But
not
what
at
you
all.
do know is that, okay, this falls under my jurisdiction, right? Like
Hmm.
my role. So at
Hmm.
the end of the day, we can bounce ideas and we can disagree. But if it's my call at the end of the day, I'm gonna make the decision, or vice
Yes.
versa, right? If it's on Brenda's side, then she has the last decision.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. And Patricia, and please, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but from what you just shared with us, in terms of convincing Brenda, that you two together in partnership, should launch this marketing business. It sounds like, um, you sound a lot like me. I am the optimist. Okay, to me, everything's positive. It's going to work out. And at the same time, I'm very real. I'm a realist. But it sounds like Brenda is very real, calculated, talks about the risks, and then you have the
No,
positivity. Is that not the case?
no, it's not. So Brenda
Okay.
has really big vision. The problem is that she had a bad experience and she didn't want to
Okay.
damage our relationship, because this is a
Makes
family
sense.
business.
Yes.
And when you think about a family business, people always say like, oh, how it's so difficult to work
Right.
with family. So
Yeah.
she was bringing that into it, so she didn't
Mhm.
want to ruin our relationship.
Yeah.
But in terms of bringing ideas, Brenda is always, I think we're both very positive, and she's extremely optimist. If anything,
Yeah.
she's more of the big picture and let's do this and that. She brings all these ideas, and I
Okay.
have to be the one. Okay, how are we gonna make this happen? And I have, because I'm more of the operations side. It's
Yeah.
the dynamic that we had growing up, right? Because she will
Yeah.
go out and talk to the parents when we were kids, while I will stay at the after school program. I mean institute.
Yeah.
That will do the back end, like the orders and all the paperwork, because she will give me what to do, but I was not the one talking to the clients, right, to the
Yeah.
parents so much.
Yeah.
So we have the same dynamic. At the beginning I was doing more of the operation side, she was
Mhm.
more sales and networking, right? So we always had
Yeah.
this good dynamic, which we
Mhm.
complement each other.
Mhm.
So I'm more of
Absolutely.
the, let's create the system, how is this going to work, let's structure this, right?
Yes.
I'm very positive too. I mean, I think when you're resilient, you become positive. Because
Hmm.
honestly, what's the worst that could happen? I already lost my parents. I lost literally everything, and I went through all of that. I made it. Literally nothing can destroy me now.
That's right. Nope,
Yeah.
that's right. And I'm so thankful that you clarified that for us, Patricia, because I was getting a sense of, while there's a lot of similarities with you and Brenda, you know, there are some differences as far as what you handle and what you excel in, which complements each other, which makes you a great team, right? When you talk about Brenda handling the big picture and then you handling the operations, it reminds me of an old friend of mine who is an entrepreneur who has a string of restaurants. You know, he calls it the front of the store, the back of the store, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it reminds me a lot of that. But your differences in working together complement each other, which grows to the success of the business. It sounds like.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
Wonderful. So, Patricia, in the biggest setbacks, and you don't have to explain what your biggest setback was or is or anything like that, but when you come across a very tough challenge or a struggle, whether it's with the business or whether it was early on in Bolivia, what what kept you staying the course? What kept you on course and kept you from throwing your hands up saying, you know what, it's not going to work, and walking away? What kept you on the course?
I believe it's more about the pain. What's the
Hmm.
pain? Because right now, this hurts, right?
Yes.
Whatever bad situation that you're going through, it hurts.
Yes. Yes.
But if you quit, is it going to hurt more not accomplishing your goal
Hmm.
than accomplishing your goal? And that, I feel like that's always been my situation. Like
I
at
see.
one point, and I can give an example, I have no problem. Like uh, when Harvey happened, we lost, we almost lost our business. We
Mm.
went 5 months without paying us a salary, me and Brenda, so we can
Five
keep our
months.
employees. Yeah, 5 months. I
Wow.
will literally cry, send out a job application because I was like, I need to have income, right? Send the
Yeah.
job
Yeah.
application,
Hmm.
cry, and then be like, no, this has to work. Because in my head, it was like, if I quit on my business, right, and I go and look for a job and go on the safe bet, right, quote
Right.
unquote safe,
Yeah.
then that means I'm killing this business idea
Mm.
and
Hmm.
dream of having my business, of having the flexibility. So that losing that was even more painful than just suffering these few months. So I will
Right.
sit down on my computer and be like, no, this strategy needs to work. And I will
Yeah.
review it again. And I did that 3 times. And, here we are. Like now that's a story in the past. We literally double our business in the following year.
Doubled in the following year.
Yes.
Oh, Patricia, that's absolutely tremendous. And had you threw your hands up and just gave up, that would not have happened.
No.
No, that would not have happened at
And
all.
also that experience
Hmm.
taught me to prepare myself because when Harvey happened, we couldn't go to our office, right?
No.
We're a digital agency, and I
Hmm.
can't go to my office to pick up files from my clients or my computers and stuff
Hmm.
like that. So I
Hmm.
was like, this cannot happen again. So
No.
my entire agency became truly digital before COVID happened. So when COVID happened, we had zero interruptions. So we were
Seamless.
prepared
Yes.
for any other disaster.
Mm.
So
Wow.
you never know what you're
Wow.
getting ready for, right?
No, that's
Mm-hmm.
right. That's right. You never know. And that is tremendous. I mean, the lessons you've learned from Harvey,
Mm-hmm.
you took time to reflect as a business, as an individual, and you've put in the changes from the lessons you've learned from Harvey, and that equipped you to be able to seamlessly run your business when COVID hit and everyone was shut down.
Yes.
Absolutely,
And I think
absolutely.
What
Tremendous.
truly kept me going was my big why. Like, why am I doing this?
Exactly.
And
Yes.
when you know that why, you
Hmm.
know it's a must. Like, this
Yes.
has, like, there's no way this must work. I must do this. It's not a I should do this, or maybe. No, this is a must. I have to do it.
Yes.
There's no
Yes.
going back, right? And I
That's
know,
right.
like, during Harvey, like, a lot of my clients literally lost their business because it was underwater, and
Yeah.
that's how we lost those clients, because I mean, they don't need marketing if they're underwater, right? So,
Right. Right.
but that experience alone helped me not only propel my business, but look at my business with different eyes and different perspective, and ask myself the tough questions, right? What do
Yes.
I truly want? Where do I see my business going? Uh, and how can I avoid this to happen? And then what other experiences or tragedies, right, can happen in the future, and how to prepare for that.
Yeah. Yeah. A tremendous, absolutely extraordinary amount of self awareness. Patricia, how can the listeners connect with you and Brenda, learn more about Boral Agency, and connect with you? Maybe, set up a time to talk to you, maybe follow you on social media. How can they connect?
Absolutely. So they can go visit our website, of course,
Hmm.
boralagency.com.
Hmm.
They can also find us on all social media platforms by
Hmm.
looking Boral Agency, or they can also follow me on LinkedIn, or Brenda. It's the same, Patricia Boral, Brenda Boral. Just follow us, connect with us. We respond to all messages. You can book an appointment actually directly on our website if you just go to the contact page. Yeah, looking forward to hear from you.
Fantastic. And we're going to put all of those social media handles, as
Thank
well as the LinkedIn handles and the website web address, in the episode show notes, so that our listeners can click and connect with you while listening to this absolutely wonderful, in-depth conversation. Patricia, I can't thank you enough for coming on to the show, sharing your journey, sharing, your lessons learned in this journey. Really, really, really grateful for you coming on.
Thank you so much, Aubrey, for having me. And I hope that you can bring Brenda very soon, because I know she was very excited and looking forward to come. But, she has a baby. She has a 3-year-old. So she had a little bit of an emergency back home, but everything is okay. She was
Good.
really looking forward to be here today.
Oh yeah, we'd love to bring Brenda on. So I'll be talking with all of you further down the line, not too far though down the line, so that we can get Brenda on, share her perspective, and make this a complete solid message. It's already complete and solid, but I want to offer her perspective as well. So yeah, we will be talking about that real soon, Patricia.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Aubrey. It was great to be here today. I loved your questions. I loved the conversation, and I can't wait to see the podcast live.
Oh, fantastic. Yes, I can't wait either. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in and listening. And as always, we want our listeners to know that when dealing with life struggles, you're never alone and there's always hope. Please share this show with someone you know who needs motivation and support. And we're all roadies on this journey of life. And it feels good. It sure feels good having you on the road with me. Thanks again for listening. We'll chat again soon. We really hope you enjoyed this episode of The Road to Rediscovery. We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email at roadtorediscoverypodcast@gmail.com and leave us any questions or comments you may have.
Mhm.
Is what you applied to assess what you've gone through with Harvey and to grow and learn from it. Um, that's amazing, and it made you stronger, right? Again,
Yeah.
there's strength in our struggle.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So this is an absolutely amazing story, Patricia, and I have to commend you and Brenda on the journey that you have had. And your company has been in existence for 10 years. Is that right?
12 years, actually, 12 and a half.
12 years.
Yeah.
12 and a half. That is fantastic. Man, that is wonderful. And so I'd like to kind of transition into the business, some of the challenges of the business. Okay. Can you share what are some of the unique challenges of that a Hispanic or minority business owners would have in America? That's the first part of the question. And the second part of the question is, do you feel that companies, I'm not sure if you benchmark or anything with other companies, but do you feel that other companies are starting to more and more incorporate diversity and inclusion in their work environments?
Okay, well, I'm gonna answer the second one first because that's a
Okay.
definite yes. Most
Okay.
a lot of companies are actually looking to hire minority-owned companies,
Hmm.
women-owned, or Hispanic-owned.
Hmm.
We happen to have all three. So we are Hispanic-owned, minority, and women-owned. So
Yes.
that makes us really different. And even though a lot of people see the fact that, oh, I'm a minority, if I choose to be a victim, then I'm going to see that as an obstacle.
Yes.
But for us, we got certified as a minority-owned business, hub, women-owned, and Hispanic-owned. And that actually helped us open new doors.
Yes.
So I don't feel that that was a challenge for me. I think
Okay.
it's all more in your head, right? Like if
Yeah.
you see it as a challenge or if you see it as a limitation, then it's gonna be a limitation. It's gonna be a challenge. We didn't see it that way. If
Understood.
anything, like being a Hispanics, like in Houston alone, 42% of the population are Hispanic. If somebody's looking to target the Hispanic market, hire a Hispanic agency to get there, right?
Hmm.
Now, many companies are trying to target women specifically,
Hmm.
women-owned businesses specifically, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
many companies trying to target immigrants or second, third generations of immigrants. We are a minority owned. We are immigrants as well. So all of that has been actually, for us, has been uh, a differentiator, something that sets us apart because we are not only able to read market data and tell you how to market, but I can tell you from experience because I am all of those things.
Yes, you are all of those things, and what better resource to have to give you that information than someone who is that and who walks that path, right? Um, Now, Houston is a very big city. I live in North Dallas, and with Houston being a city as big as it is, um, your company, it sounds like you have it nailed down on how to keep your thumb on the pulse and stay up to date with demographics. Because in the marketing agency space, in the industry, it sounds like demographics play a major role in whatever marketing objectives your clients have.
Mhm.
Um, with a big city such as Houston, and I know you have clients all over the world, but let's just start with Houston. Um, how much of a challenge is it maintaining and keeping up to date knowledge on demographics as people move in and out of that big city?
For us, it's really not that much of a challenge because we are
Hmm.
very active in our community. We
Good.
go to a lot of good organizations like the Greater Houston Partnership, the
Hmm.
Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the
Hmm.
Economic Alliance Port of
Hmm.
Houston. So we participate in all of these organizations, but not only to just attend a few events. We are there on every single event. We talk to them. We're part of their committees. So we are actively serving the community. So because of that, we are able to get firsthand information, right? Very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And is it true in this year, 2023, you were voted as Houston's largest Hispanic
Yeah.
and owned businesses?
Yes, we are in the list of the largest Hispanic owned businesses by the Houston Business Journal. Mhm.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations
Thank you.
definitely is in order for that. And we talked about the unique, the distinctions, right? Minority, Hispanic, women. You are all three in owning this business, and you have distinctions that set you apart as far as the services you provide and the quality of service you can provide for your clients. So, in light of that and what you shared with us on that, Patricia, wanted to ask you about something I was reading in your blog that it kind of resonated with me. Okay, and any clarification you can share with me or and the listeners would be awesome. So, in this blog, you mentioned the ease of seeing disadvantages in a women-owned, minority-owned business. Me as an African American, I'm like you. I don't see any disadvantages, especially now with companies that are incorporating and adopting diversity and inclusion and looking for those demographics so much. But focusing on the opportunities and how you can leverage your um, limitations to your advantage, right? I always thought what may be limitations to some people
Mhm.
are strengths for others.
Yes.
And to grow as a business, have you found it better to focus on how you leverage your strengths or how you leverage your limitations?
Well, it's all in the perspective,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if your perspective is to see that you're a minority owned and that's a limitation,
Mm-hmm.
then you're gonna see that as a weakness for your business,
Yeah.
right? But if I choose to see that as a strength, then that's gonna open doors for me, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
basically where you focus, it's where you're gonna go, right?
Yeah.
So I never saw that as a limitation. Being a woman or being a minority, being Hispanic, being an immigrant, like all of that, I always saw that as a strength because it
Yes.
set me apart, right? Like
Yes.
I'm bringing that little spice, you know. And
That's
as an
right.
artist, I need to be
Yeah.
creative.
And you offer a perspective that no one, no U.S. citizen who's not a minority or female um, can offer. They
Yeah.
can't offer it because they're not of that space, of that demographic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
growing up in a third world country, you
mhm,
have to you have to get creative to find solutions because over
right,
there, not everything is standardized. Not everything is ready and set and packaged, right?
right,
Over
right.
there, you have to get creative to get results. So when I'm working with a client, I'm already using that creative thinking to find different solutions that's going to set my clients apart from the marketplace.
I understand. I understand. So, yeah, your creativity in working with the client, it 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 results in their success.
Yes.
Yeah, and that is key. That in the bottom line for any of your clients, for any business, having that edge, right? That advantage over the competition. So, thank you for clarifying that, for sure, Patricia. Really appreciate that. And so, I want to ask, as I'm sure you have definitely, in what you shared with us, you have reflected on your past struggles. You've reflected on your humble beginnings and reflected on the very long journey that you and Brenda have forged. The very long, tough journey to where you are today. If you can give one sentence that would sum up your main message that you want young, aspiring people to take away from your journey, what would that sentence be?
I would say, you can't give me just one sentence, but okay. I'm going to say,
I'll give you two. How about that?
okay, Life is like a game. So for you to get to the next phase or the next what do you call in a game?
Level.
Level,
Hmm.
right? You go through a set of obstacles. So
Right.
when life is throwing you obstacles, it's just so you can get to that next level in life. So look at that obstacle as a learning experience and go over that obstacle with a smile on your face because you are going up. That's the way it is.
I love that. Patricia, I love that because in that statement, you are also referencing perspective
Yeah.
and how you look at that obstacle. Look at it as upward mobility for strength to learn and to grow. Yeah, and reframing it like that for the proper perspective um, only results in continued success and growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you really think of life as a game, right? Like life
Hmm.
meant to be fun. So have
It is.
fun. Sometimes you have to, repeat the same level one or two times. That's
Yeah.
okay, until
Hmm.
you really learn that obstacle and you find the way to actually pass it. So life is meant to be fun, to live life, to enjoy it, not to suffer. Things will happen to you. That's
Hmm.
like you're gonna lose people in your life. You're
Hmm.
going to have problems, financial problems. Hopefully not, but
Hmm.
it can happen. Everything is temporary, right? Happiness is temporary, but also suffering is temporary. So everything is going to find its way, it's going to solve. So if you stay complaining too much, you're going to keep attracting that. But if you see it as a game and you're like, that's interesting. How am I going to solve this problem, right? I wonder what's coming next. Or I'm wondering why I'm learning this lesson today. And then you're gonna be able to see later on. I was like, oh, that's why. Kind of like that's
Yes.
how I see Harvey, right? Like it was really
Hmm.
tough for me. And then when COVID happened, I was like, wow, I'm so glad we have everything ready because literally we had zero interruption, right? When they
Wow.
announced that March 13th, I remember it. They said like, we're gonna go into the whole closure or whatever. I literally sent a message
Yes.
to my entire team. Hey, everybody, stop by the office, grab what you need. We're done. Like work from home. And
Yeah.
that was
Yeah, for me it was March 16th, which was a Monday, and I was in the office, and that was my last day in the office before the shutdown, and that sort of thing. So I'm right there. I'm right there with you, Patricia. Um, and also, with Harvey, as bad as Harvey was,
it. Mhm.
it's actually depending on perspective again. Good that Harvey happened, so you were prepared with your company for when the pandemic hit. But no one has a crystal ball and can tell that a pandemic was coming, right?
Nobody. Especially,
Nobody.
I mean,
Exactly.
that was history books.
Yeah, yeah. This is history books. And now when people reference something in their life and when something happened, like here in the United States, um, you know, ever since 9/11, September 11th, 2001, when the terrorist attack happened, um,
Oh
a
boy.
lot of
I
people
remember
reference
that happened.
things. I'm sorry.
I remember where I was when that happened because it was
Yeah.
global. That was global news.
Yes, it was global news. Absolutely. And I remember where I was. It was a
Mhm.
Tuesday, you know? And so I remember the day of the week. I remember where I was. I remember the weather and it was global news. And to this day, a lot of people, when they're talking about a certain time, they may reference it was before 9/11. It was after 9/11. Like, there was a certain way that we were able to travel where security wasn't as strict.
Yeah.
And I call that, that was pre 9/11,
Mm.
and the pandemic's the same way. There are people who are saying, back pre-pandemic, before the pandemic, we used to blah 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 blah. And that
Yeah.
now, since the pandemic, it's a reference point
It is.
because of the significance of the event, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and Harvey's that as well. And again, as bad as it was, it's actually good that Harvey happened because it allowed you to apply what you've learned so that you can get through this pandemic. So I
Like,
just found that fascinating.
guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
found that fascinating. So